As of this morning, September 7th at 8 a.m. Atlantic Standard Time, Hurricane Irma had weakened slightly. The maximum sustained winds are down to 180 miles per hour. It's still a Category 5 hurricane. The minimum central pressure has weakened to 921 millibars, and it was located at 20.1 north and 69.0 west, and the movement was west-northwest at 17 miles per hour, so it's still slightly gaining speed. The reason for the weakening of Irma, this slight weakening, is because it's interacting with land masses in that area, and so we should expect it to weaken even further over the next 12 to 24 hours, possibly, as it continues its west-northwest track toward the United States and over a lot of little islands in that area. It is still a very deadly storm and nothing to play around with. Hurricane Irma howled past Puerto Rico with 185-mile-an-hour winds after reducing the tiny tropical islands of Barbuda and St Martin to rubble and claiming at least 10 lives. The Category 5 storm, the strongest hurricane ever recorded in the Atlantic, left a trail of deadly devastation through the Caribbean when it struck on Wednesday on a potential collision course with South Florida. Barbuda and St Martin suffered the storm's full fury, with roughly 95% of properties destroyed on both islands. Officials said at least 8 people died on the French part of St. Martin, a pristine resort known for its vibrant nightlife. It's an enormous catastrophe. 95% of the island is destroyed, top local official Danielle Gibbs said. "I am in shock. It's frightening." The island, which is divided between the Netherlands and France, was left without drinking water or electricity, and the death toll is expected to rise. Barbuda, part of the twin island nation of Antigua, also suffered absolute devastation and is barely habitable, with more than 90% of the dwelling completely destroyed, a child killed, and 60% of the population left homeless. Meanwhile, residents on the British overseas territory of Anguilla said the island was utterly devastated and looked as though it had suffered a nuclear bomb devastation. The core was expected to scrape the northern coast of the Dominican Republic and Haiti on Thursday and track near Turks and Caicos and southern Bahamas later. It is likely to be downgraded to a Category 4 storm by the time it makes landfall in Florida, the U.S. National Hurricane Center said on Thursday. As you can see by these models, not much has changed. All the models are still in agreement that the hurricane will head up the east coast of Florida on into Georgia and South Carolina area by within the next few days. So not much has changed as far as the track. The models are still in agreement that it should make some sort of landfall around Monday in the South Carolina region of the United States. So unless something changes within the next couple of days that is drastic, the models are all agreeing that this hurricane will continue to stay on the track that it is. But remember, once it gets around Cuba in that area, it's still uncertain exactly when this storm will make that turn more north than it is now. Now here's a look at the WRF model, which is in agreement with the other models. It just goes to Saturday. It doesn't go all the way to Monday. And as you can see, as it goes to Saturday at 4 p.m., it has it in the same position pretty much as the other models, heading toward Florida and skirting the east coast of Florida. But again, as I've already stated, there is absolutely no 100% certainty exactly where that storm will be positioned once it reaches Florida. It could hit Miami. It could miss Miami. It could miss the east coast of Florida altogether. Now, one thing I wanted to point out again is about this high pressure system up here in the Atlantic Ocean. The Bermuda high pressure system is still affecting Irma, and that's why Irma is not turning more toward the west out into the Gulf of Mexico. Remember the other day we were talking about how the high pressure system was forecasted to weaken somewhat and move farther to the north and east. That didn't happen, so that's why you're seeing Irma still being forecasted to turn up the east coast of Florida instead of the west coast of Florida. So that high pressure system right there has not weakened like the models had forecasted several days ago. So that's why Irma is still heading in the direction that it is heading in for the last couple of days, according to the forecast models. One other thing I want to point out is the water temperatures around Florida are very warm off the coast of Florida. So nothing is going to cause this storm to weaken as it starts riding up the east coast of Florida, if that's what happens. If in fact it'll probably strengthen somewhat as it heads up the east coast of Florida on up toward the southeast part of the United States of America. So nothing looks like it's going to stand in the way of this storm as it rides up the east coast of the United States, if that's what happens. Now, as we go further to the south and east, we see where the storm is right now. In this area here, around the southern western Atlantic area, the water temperatures are almost just as warm. The only thing that's going to weaken the storm down in this area is it interacting with the islands in that region of the Atlantic, and that's the only thing that's going to actually weaken the storm somewhat down to a category 4 here within the next 12 to 24 hours. So not much change in this storm. Very dangerous situation, nothing to play with. If you haven't gotten out of Florida or in these areas where this storm is forecasted to go, get out, save yourself. It's not worth it, guys. This is one dangerous storm. Leave your comments below this video. Thanks for watching.